Eternal Twilight is an RPG game developed by Fernando Gonzalez. In the game, you take control of a group of misfits and survivors who must band together to stop a centuries-old evil from remaking the world in his own twisted image. Now, before I go any further, I should mention that Eternal Twilight takes the cake on difficult. It has 3 levels of difficulty, which you can change at just about any time after initially choosing one at the beginning. Hard is punishing. Normal is brutal, and easy, it lures you into a false sense of security as it stabs you from behind. The game doesn't hold your hand. It explains things once, if anything is said at all, and then it is up to you, the player, to survive the onslaught. So why would I speak favorably of a game that is so punishing and has such a rough learning curve? Because every time the game chewed me up and spit me out, it was invariably somehow my fault. And that's a good thing. Eternal Twilight's difficulty is akin to a Dark Souls experience. If you don't learn and respect the game and the combat, it will throw you around until you do. Thankfully, a lot of the stuff is telegraphed. Tactics, they can be learned. Boss ultimates are given special auras. Mechanics are well choreographed and balanced, so it is ultimately up to the player to pick the right buffs and debuffs and use them at the right times. Plus, there's no true game over. If you lose to a boss fight, it will take a tax in your money and ask if you want to restart or go better prepare yourself. Any items used during the encounter are also given back to you. In a way, this was an absolute godsend. But in another, it kinda made the encounters less urgent. In the back of my mind, even as annoyed and intensely focused as I became, I knew there was a soft reset waiting if I screwed up too badly. And screw up I did. Not gonna lie, there were times I found it terribly frustrating. But there was the euphoric rush after I beat a boss that had given me a hell of a time. After, there would also be large chunks of story with interactions between the characters, my favorite being Trish, that spurred me forward, wanting to know what was going to happen next. So the combat in a nutshell is very strategic. If you're going to give this game a try, know that first and foremost, you simply cannot spam basic attacks, even for the trash mobs. Screw those goddamn pigs. By now you're probably asking yourself,
"But the game's so difficult, how on earth can I deal with this?"
Thankfully, that's where the crafting comes in. I would say about 70% of the game is the combat and how you react to that combat. The foundation of that, remaining 30%, is the gear. And the way to get the gear? You craft it. 4 tiers, 3 types of armor, several different weapons, endgame ultimate weapons, hundreds of combinations for those ultimate weapons, stacking passive debuffs. It just goes on and on. It's literally insane the level of care and detail that went into the crafting system for this game. It was, for me, one of the big high points. If any boss kicked my ass, I crafted more gear. And the more you craft, the better the quality, all the way up to a legendary status. Personally, I'm usually not one for a heavy amount of crafting in a game. But for the most part, it was painless and efficient. I was able to craft dozens of different pieces quickly, see what worked and what didn't, recycle the trash to make more, and then start all over again if I had to. The only real complaint I had about the crafting system, it was a pure RNG system. If you wanted a specific suffix to your armor or weapons, you had to just keep making items until it showed up. Still, it was a minor annoyance in an otherwise flawless system. So, do I recommend Eternal Twilight? The story isn't anything you probably haven't heard 1,000 times before. But the characters are heartfelt, they have a human touch, and are interesting enough that you care for them. The humor isn't overbearing or oddly placed, and adds a nice relief for many of the heavy scenes. I would say that alone would make the game worth it, but it's the combat and the crafting that really shine in this title. It is probably one of the best, if not the best, crafting systems I've ever experienced in an RPG Maker game. Hell, in most, AAA titles even. As for the combat, if you enjoy a challenge, like thinking strategically for every battle, and I mean every battle, and enjoy juggling buffs and debuffs, then it's a paradise. If you prefer to spam attack enemies and not really give it much thought, then you're probably not going to be as enthused about this as you go into each battle. Either way, I still say try it. It wasn't my thing, but I still enjoyed it immensely. And there we have it, folks. Another review under wraps. If you enjoyed this or found it informative, throw me a like and subscribe. If you really liked it, head on over to my Twitch channel, throw me a sub, or my Patreon page and sign up. The more support I get, the more videos like this I can do. And it's nothing without you, the fans. I'm HawkZombie. Thanks for listening.